He was the son of one of the early merchants in New York down on South Street, A.A. Low. He was mayor of Brooklyn and president of Columbia University. The main building at Columbia University's Low Library is named for his father, actually. He gave the money.
From the beginning of the modern New York City, with consolidation in 1898 that brought together the 5 boroughs, politics was largely a battle between Tammany Hall and the Reform factions. Seth Low was the first Reform mayor of the new New York City, and in a lot of ways, he created the model for the modern mayoralty, where he would lead an efficient organization, the one that was built merit-based as opposed to just a patronage mill.
Seth Low fit into the mold of the reformer mayor in the progressive era, and he reflected a high level of idealism that existed in New York at the time. I think the short tenure reflected the fact that idealism cannot govern a city.
Reform mayors have a tough time staying in office more than one term because everybody come in on a wave of revulsion at corruption. But as George Washington Plunkett, a famous Tammany Hall ward leader, once said, you know, reformers are like morning glories. They look great in the morning, but they kind of wither in the afternoon, whereas the machine candidates are like old oak trees. You know, they're big and they're sturdy and they stay. And so Seth Low was only in office in New York, very important time. It was right after, he wasn't the first mayor after consolidation when the 5 boroughs come together. He runs for mayor at that time, but loses to Van Wyck.
Robert Van Wyck, who had been the first Tammany mayor, had been ensconced in a terrible scandal involving the fixing of prices for ice, which was a really big deal then because you needed ice to preserve anything that you wanted to drink or eat. And so Low came in on the heels of this scandal and really tried to shake up government and reform it.
He wanted to implement administrative reforms in the city that would make the city government function more efficiently and effectively. But he also did things like expand small parks in the city. He spent more on some public services.
Seth Low's main accomplishments would have been his attempt to enforce what we call the blue laws. You couldn't be open on Sunday. He tried to restructure the city's finances so that you could run it more like a business. Tammany Hall ran it more like a cash register most of the time.
Tammany Hall promptly pushed back at him, and 2 years later they recruited the son of Civil War General George McClellan to run against him, and Low was defeated. So he only served a single 2-year term in office.